Hey everybody, it's Dave here, Holiday for Two, and I hope you're having a great week and a great day. And I'm continuing my RV must-see destinations with this video on Colorado. And if you have not been to Colorado and you've been thinking about going there, I would encourage you to start thinking about it right away. And summertime's coming up right now, and it'll be a beautiful time. My wife and I took a trip to Colorado a couple summers ago and we had a great time. We did have a little incident though on one of the highways, so I do want to encourage you to watch ahead of time of where you're traveling in Colorado. If you are in a big motorhome pulling a long rig like a car or an SUV, something behind you, or maybe a pickup truck with a fifth wheel behind you, you do want to watch out for some of the roads, because there are a couple highways that are real twisty and turny and narrow, so watch out for those. If you're in a small vehicle, camper van, Jeep with a rooftop tent, or a pickup with a rooftop tent, you'll be fine. And definitely get out and enjoy it. Colorado is a must-see destination. And just like the song says, Colorado is a Rocky Mountain high, so get out and enjoy it.
I'm hoping I can take a holiday and spend some time with you. Trying hard to take some time away and have a peaceful day or two. So someday when my ship comes in, I know just what we'll do. We'll pack our bags and quit our jobs and have a holiday for two.
Rocky Mountain High. You know, when I was a kid and somebody would talk about Colorado, I always thought of that song by John Denver. But now I get it. It is truly an awesome place. A beautiful state to travel through. I mean, we have mountains in Arizona, but we have nothing like they have in Colorado. It is just a completely different state. Beautiful country. We started off the trip coming up the 160 and spent a night or two in Durango. The historic town of Durango, Colorado. Reminds me a lot of the town in Arizona called Prescott. It's a little bit bigger, of course, and this is a picture of the old Stafford Hotel. We walked around downtown catching some of the sights. And even on the way up the highway, we took a stop at Honeyville, the honey factory. And oh my goodness, if you are a honey addict, this place is for you. They have a little bit of everything there. Spent a night or two in Haviland Lake Campground. Unfortunately, when we were there, they were draining the lake off, so we didn't get to go to the lake. But oh my goodness, this was late June, if you can believe it. And we were at one of the highest passes of 10,899 feet, the Molas Pass. And it took us in then up the highway to Silverton, and that's where we hit the famous $1 million highway. There's another video I made called Colorado Danger, and this is the highway that we got sideswiped on by the semi. And nearly ended our trip, but we kept going. It wasn't that bad. Jeep was fine. The motorhome could continue on. And we hit several passes that were sometimes even higher than that. Take a look. I'll show you. Beautiful country. We made our way up from Durango through Gunnison, and we spent a night at Silverton at a place called Heaton Bay Campground. Beautiful campground. And I kind of discovered it on accident doing a Google search of the area, and I'm glad that we stayed there. It was a really lovely campground, and we spent a couple days there, took the Jeep, and did some sightseeing trips around in the area. By the way, there's a little town nearby, so if you do stay there, there's places to get groceries, place you can go fishing, kayaking in the lake. And like I said earlier, It's hard to believe this was late June, almost the end of June, and there's still snow on the mountain then. And this was in 2020. Nice little campground, lots of spaces. We tucked into a spot and got settled in. I took some drone footage of the area around Heaton Bay. And just incredible. I'll let you just sit back and watch this. I just could not get over how the mountains still had snow on them in late June like this. The weather was perfect. It started warming up at this time. And eventually we made it from here all the way up to Yellowstone, and the weather at this time was perfect. I don't know if you can see, there's a couple of drone shots where you can see some kayakers in the water there. And I don't know how cold the water was. I didn't really get into the water, but I can imagine the water was pretty cold. Just beautiful sights though. We spent a couple days there, and one of the things that I think impressed me the most was just the beauty of the mountains. Like I said, in Arizona we have mountains, but there's nothing like the mountains of Colorado. Oftentimes you could drive through the state and you feel like you're in Switzerland with the high mountaintops. Now, I think the name of this reservoir is Dillon Reservoir. So the campground though is Heaton Bay Campground. And the prices were reasonable at the time. Now, they may have gone up since then. I think it was $25, $30 a night with hookups. We had a nice little spot kind of secluded here in our aspens. Did some hikes in the area, walked around, met a few of the people. There was a nice biking trail near the campsite. Unfortunately, we didn't bring our bikes with us on this trip. I was really wishing we did. There's the bike path. Lots of bike trails in the area. Places to go, things you could drive. If you had a bike, lots of places you could go on bicycle. We did have a good time here. After spending a couple days, we were ready to go on and get on our way. We took the 70, which was real close by. Took the 70 in through Denver and then up into South Dakota, where we would go on to Mount Rushmore and check out the sights in South Dakota. But it was a beautiful, beautiful trip through Colorado. And one of these days I plan on getting back there again. It was so nice. Hey, if you like this video, hit like, share, and subscribe, please. And stay tuned as I show you some more things from the area that on a Google Maps. And if you ever decide to get up this way, it is definitely worth the trip. Safe travels. Take care. See you later. Bye. It's Dave, and I'm going to show you how a basic synopsis of our trip through Colorado. And we started off in New Mexico, coming up through New Mexico, and came in on the south part here on the 160th to Durango. Spent a couple nights there at a place called Lightner Creek Campground. Let's see if I can show you where it's at up here. There it is, Lightner Creek Campgrounds. Check them out if you ever get in the area. It's a small little campground, reasonable. It's kind of in the hill. They have a lot of places to stay near Durango. So give them a thumbs up, as we enjoyed staying there. And this, of course, was all during COVID, and so a lot of places were shut down, and a lot of places were very light on attendance. We also came up through this area. This is where we stayed out, visited the honey factory here, which is close in this area. We stayed at Haviland Lake Campground. Unfortunately, when we were staying there, they were draining the lake off. That was in 2020, and the lake was almost completely drained, so you couldn't do any fishing or walk around the lake and enjoy that, so it was kind of a bummer. I believe up here is where the honey factory is that we visited. But just a beautiful drive through here on the 550. And you really get to climbing here. I think this somewhere in here is where the Molas Pass was, right there. There's the Molas Pass. Beautiful mountains. You feel like you're in Switzerland when you come through here. There's Silverton. And this little town reminds me of an alpine village. Just zoom in here and see if I can get it to zoom in on the, do satellite mode. That'll do it. I just so taken when we came in here. There we go. and you look around and you feel like you're in Switzerland, these mountains and stuff. Just really, really incredible. It was really green when we were there. This looks like maybe it was taken during the late fall or something right before winter. The road to Uri, though, that's the road that gets me. Oh my goodness. That's what they call the $1 Million Highway. You go around through Uri. Uri is how it's pronounced, I believe. And let me see if I can shift this. Hold on. There we go. And I'm going to zoom out. So we took the road between Silverton and Uri. This is called the $1 Million Highway. Let me switch over to terrain mode. There we go. So between Silverton and Uri up here, this is what they call the $1 Million Highway. And this is the road that we were on when we got sideswiped. I believe it was right in this area here. And it's a beautiful drive, but I would not take it again if I was pulling a vehicle like I was before, or if I had a long rig. I would try to find another way to get around. Either that or just go very slow. Really use caution on that road. We made our way through Montrose and over to Gunnison, spent a night in Gunnison at a little RV park. I think it was called Mesa Verde. Let's see if I can find Mesa Campground. That's where we stayed at. Nice little campground, reasonable prices. Went into Gunnison and did some shopping and kind of hung around there for a day or two. Then made our way up through Buena Vista and on the 24. So Nathrop, came up through Buena Vista, Granite. And then when I got up here to Leadville, I was doing some research ahead of time and decided not to go the 24 because some of the guides that I was reading suggested not to take that because it was twisty and turny. So I went the 91 instead up to Frisco and Silverthorne. And it was a beautiful drive, really was. So we got into Silverthorne and stayed at Heaton Bay Campground. And this is a nice little campground. Lots of spaces here. You can make reservations ahead of time if you go on the website there, and you can make reservations at Heaton Bay on RECGOVN right there. Go through that website and you can make reservations at Heaton Bay. I suggest this as a great place to base yourself. If you want to see Colorado, you could base yourself somewhere in this area because there's so much to see. Like you could drive up to Rocky Mountain National Park or the Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Forest, and you can just see a lot of the area here in the mountains of Colorado and have this place as a base. It was really nice. Plus, you're right next to the 70 interstate, which puts you on a direct course if you decide you want to move on like we did. We went through Denver up to 25 and eventually made our way up into Wyoming and stayed at a little place up here called Wheatland. And I just got to tell you about this because this was like such a cool find. So if you're traveling from Colorado and you want to get up into South Dakota or Wyoming to get to Yellowstone, stop in at Wheatland. It's a nice little town, quiet, but let me show you something really cool they have here. It's called Lewis Park. And it's like a kind of a little secret that people don't usually know about, but maybe you've heard of it. Lewis Park has about 10 RV spots over here along the canal, and they're free. All they ask for is a donation, and you can leave any amount you want. There's a little donation booth right here. Let me zoom in on the map and you'll see it right there. You can leave a donation there on your way out. But all of these RV sites have, like, some of them even have little tables there. They all have hookups, and I want to say there's like 10 of them. There's a little area where you can pitch tents in the back. So if you go along the back, you can pitch tents. There's lots of places to walk around here. Quiet little park. There's basketball courts, places you can picnic over there. Well kept. The only thing about the park that I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say anything negative really, but the only thing I have to say about it is that at night there's train tracks over here, and I think the night that we were there, there was maybe 1 or 2 trains that came through about maybe on a 3-hour apart schedule. But honestly, I didn't even hear them because we were so tired. We spent the afternoon, we got there from, came all the way from Heaton Bay to Wheatland in about 6 hours, 7, maybe 6.5 hours. Pulled in, parked our motorhome and unhooked our Jeep and just did a little shopping trip around town and walked around the park and just kind of enjoyed everything. But a great little spot as kind of a stopping point, very quiet. And from there, then you're right at the back door of Black Hills National Forest or Thunder Basin grassland or anywhere up there. Just a straight shot from there on into Wyoming if you want to get up into Yellowstone. Just a kind of a cool little secret there. Wheatland, Wyoming. So mark that on your must-see places to stop in if you want a little stopping point. That's some peace and quiet there. All right, I hope you get a chance to get up there. It is definitely worth the trip and you will enjoy it. Summertime travel season's coming up, so get up there if you can. And if you haven't made reservations for Yellowstone, make sure you make them in advance, because I'm sure they are probably sold out by now. So you might want to think about next summer, starting to plan that trip for next summer. This is Dave from Holiday for Two. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. Catch you later. Safe travels. Bye.